What's up, entrepreneurs? Today we have an Ask Fred session, and we're answering all the questions that you guys have that keep you up at night. What is it that is stressing you out? So, if you are with us alive, hashtag live. And if you're watching the replay, hashtag replay, we're going to cover some questions that were submitted early. And then anything that you guys put in the chat, we will try to get into today. We actually have a lot of people who are on the road and can't join us today live. So I am going to take 1 minute here to let you guys, hi Sandy, hi Kyle. So I'm Tessa, Marketing Director at IdeaPros, and I have Fred Cary, CEO of IdeaPros. Hi Fred, the
Hello.
star of our show.
Wow.
I know, right? Who's going to have center stage answering your questions today? But I'm just wanted to, before we dive into those questions, Fred, I mean, can you tell us a little bit about your background for all those people? I see a lot of new people that are actually popping in, interestingly.
Oh, okay. Well, if you don't know me, you're probably better off for it. But I've spent the last 30 years or so starting companies. I've built 10 companies from the ground up, took 3 of them public, had 2 others acquired by public companies. And we started IdeaPros about 3 years ago to help entrepreneurs. There's about 550,000 new entrepreneurs every single month, which is about double the birth rate in the United States. And
Wow.
so, yeah, it's crazy. And nobody was helping them. So you can also follow me on social media. Well, here, obviously, but
Mhm.
we have official Fred Cary on Instagram, where we have close to 500,000 followers, and Mentor and Muse on TikTok, where we're approaching 200,000. We have 70 million views of our videos there, and all those programs. I'm really trying to talk about not just entrepreneurship, but positivity, how to be a better person, how to change your mindset to start changing your life, and how you can't possibly build a great company without starting to become a great person and always do the right thing. So, uh, and this show here is more focused on the nuts and bolts of entrepreneurship, the things that you need to know in different elements of what you're going to do when you're going through that entrepreneurial journey, whether you're just starting out or whether you're further along and you're running into heartaches and milestones that you're not sure what to do about. So today's show's really wide open. Anybody can ask me any question. It's not too personal, and
Unless it's about, mindset, meditation. Those are personal questions that we do cover because it's the whole holistic view of an entrepreneur, not just the work side. So
yeah.
if you watch Official Fred Cary, you'll see some of those over there. We do have some extra comments, questions that have popped in, and I will. We're going to do a couple that were pre-submitted, and then we'll get to your questions over in the chat. Hopefully, Jennifer, I'm not sure if you're watching us on YouTube. On the Facebook link, you can refresh it, and it usually shows the video if you're having trouble on Facebook. Awesome. But I do see people chatting, so we must be live. And our questions today, well, we have one that was submitted by Eddie. And we actually talked a lot about Eddie, who's doing really amazing things with his business. But his question, you can cover it after, Fred, if you want. But his question is, with everything going on in China and in the ports, at what point does it make sense to start looking at manufacturing the product in the US?
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know what that means, the world's on fire. I mean, it's a disaster. We have gotten shipping costs that are 5 times higher. They take 5 times longer. There's ships sitting out of the port of Los Angeles and port of Long Beach that just can't dock. They don't have enough folks working on the ground to load them all up. We have manufacturers that we know in China that have bought 100,000 square foot facilities to put all their excess stuff in there. Prices are going insane. Speaking of going insane, I had a partner go insane yesterday when the prices of the product came in from manufacturing that was more than double what we were all expecting. And it's just a crazy world out there. And when you couple the fact that Chinese prices are going up, Chinese shipping is gone up fivefold. Getting in through the port is another issue. It's a good idea to start looking now, and you may have opportunities because you have to balance out. Don't forget, having something built in the U.S. usually costs a lot more money, but you don't have to go through the tariffs and the long haul shipping on boats and all the different freight forwarders that you're going to be dealing with. So right now, if you have something that you're ready to launch, you certainly want to take a look around and look at your alternatives and see what's the best thing for you. But let me just add one thing to that. Be patient. You know, if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to have this stuff happen all the time. And this is the worst ever because this is a pandemic on top of a pandemic, and now a new strain, and now countries are shutting down again, requirements are changing. You have to imagine that that affects the supply chain. It's impossible for it not to affect the supply chain. So if you're an entrepreneur, you're sitting in a corner and bitching and moaning about how it's affecting your product, you're not understanding the world. And if you're not understanding the world, you're not being a good entrepreneur. Any entrepreneur can yell and scream. What you need to do is look at the situation, just like Eddie asked, what are my alternatives? Where else should I go? Where should I look? How do I make this happen when the timing sucks for me to make it happen the way that I wanted to do it, right? Part of the brilliance of entrepreneurship, when you do it right, pivoting, changing, trying a completely different approach, doing whatever it is you have to do to get to the finish line. And sometimes that involves many, many unexpected things that you had no idea were going to be in front of you.
I love how Aziza responded too. She said it happened to her, but they worked through it, and you can too. Always have a plan B and C. So, what other things can you be aligning so that you're ready for those situations? Obviously, wonderful. Thank you, Aziza, for throwing that in there. Appreciate that. And I don't know if you have a question, Aziza. You usually come up with some really good ones too. So feel free to put one in the chat. So our next question is, what's the best way to build a list before you launch your app? And just to kind of, like I said, we have some new people on today. So we do products and apps at IdeaPros. So what's the best way to build a list before you launch your app? And I'm going to ask the same question on products. Is it different?
I'm assuming you mean an email list, a customer list?
Customer list, yes.
Yeah. Well, it depends on a lot of things, right? If you have an unlimited budget, the best way to do it is just spend all your money and drive all the traffic there.
Through ads.
Like, the most of us don't have that, right? So we have to be a little bit more clever, a little bit more guerrilla style in the way that we approach things. And for me, I've talked about Harry's razors for a few times now, and there are white papers on it. You should look up how did Harry's razors launch. They had this social media campaigns where they were teasing people and just trying to get information and just being mysterious. They did that for a year, and they were pulling in email addresses of people that were just curious, and they would feed them a little bit more and a little bit more information. By the time they were done, I think they had over 1 million email addresses. So the best way to do it is put out interesting content, right? If you're going to use social media to try to gain followers and to gain people, you have to do things that are out there and clever and kind of off guard in some cases, but not when it's not true to your brand. But you just have to provide interesting content. Things, here's the trick. If you have something that you post and a lot of people start sharing that, then you're getting into a lot more people. Then you have that virality that everybody's looking for, right? If you put a post up and you got 3 likes and nobody's commenting on it or anything, you probably need to rethink what you're posting. And you're not going to be posting and getting millions of likes overnight or collecting bunches of addresses and contact information. But it's a slow process. But fine tune what you're doing. Excuse me. Fine tune what you're doing to make sure you can get to the place where you are getting the type of reactions and you are starting to collect things. Then when you get closer, you can do things like just reservations. We have, if the product cost is big enough, you can have people reserve one for $1. And you'd think, $1, what's the big deal with $1? It turns out the people who say they want something on a pre-order system and are willing to put in $1 that's fully refundable are something like 20 times more likely to buy. And why? Because they're showing an intention to buy, going out and getting their wallet, looking at their credit card, writing down the numbers, the expiration date, the secret code, and sending you that dollar. They've already gone through the process that makes them act like a buyer. So you know that you're a lot more confident that they will make a purchase when your product is ready. So that's basically a good way to start.
Yeah, I love it. And with that $1 reservation, you are giving them a discount. So the motivation to put $1 down is usually to get a substantial discount off that first product. So they're getting that launched product, and you are doing that to get to your minimum order quantity in some cases.
Or be one of the first 500 to get it when it launched. Something,
some motivation. Beautiful. So that answers a little bit of the next question that we have. And that's around, let me get it back. Okay. So as far as the ordering, so can you have people pre-order before your product is manufactured? It's an interesting one, and I know what you guys are asking there. There are rules in the different states as far as how long it can be before you ship a product, but I do know that with the shipping restraints, it's common to find on people's sites that shipping dependent is really one of the best ways.
All right. Well, I guess I don't have to answer that question.
No, go for it, Fred. What's your version?
Well, the best way to do something like that is in a crowdfunding campaign, right? That's the best way to get pre-orders. If you work with a professional management company and establish a campaign, then the rules are way different. In fact, you never even have to deliver under the rules of crowdfunding. I wouldn't advise that if you want to run a legitimate business, but the rules are much different there.
Actually, we have another question on that. Can you crowdfund an app? I know you've answered this before, but that's a good question. Can you crowdfund an app?
Yeah, let me finish this question and
okay.
we'll roll that one right into it. The biggest thing you have to think about when you're talking about getting pre-orders, it's like discovering a new star out in the sky, right? Nobody knows it's there. And your business is going to be a business that nobody knows it's there. You can't just open up shop, say, hey, I'm taking pre-orders, and expect that it's going to be really successful. So how do you do it? You have to spend marketing dollars. You have to maybe work with influencers. You have to understand the only way people are going to see you in that bright star out in the sky is if they have a telescope that's trained right on where that star is. And that telescope is your advertising, your marketing, your relationships with affiliate marketing firms or with people who are influencers that will do posts for you and drive traffic to you. So just as long as you remember, they're not going to come just because you open shop. They're going to come because you're driving them there. Then that's how pre-ordering can become successful. And as Tessa said, be mindful of the different regulations that some states may have. You can't take a pre-order. Some states for longer than 90 days, and it's different in different places. I know Tesla took 2-year pre-orders for the satellite service, so I don't know how they got away with it, but they get away with everything. As far as the question about apps and app funding, yes, you can now, but not traditional crowdfunding, because with traditional crowdfunding, people are getting something, right? They're going to be the first person that gets that golden widget. They're going to get it at a discount. They're going to get additional perks with it. They're going to be able to go brag to all their friends that they helped you launch and they were a backer of your company. That's what makes it interesting for them. And you don't have that with an app because most apps are free. But there is equity crowdfunding for apps. And for my partners, I struck a deal with a company called WeFunder. And WeFunder has about a 40% market share in equity-based crowdfunding. What is that? Equity-based crowdfunding is similar to going public, except you're not really public. And you would go onto the platform, you pitch your company, you would bring in one lead investor, could be somebody with 10 grand, whatever, and they set the terms for what your raise is going to be. And people, I don't know, I'm getting my cough back.
Oh.
People, $100 at a time can go in and start investing in your round. And without any type of accounting paperwork, you can raise, I think it's up to $107,000. Higher than that, there's 3 or 4 platforms above there where you have to have more and more kind of accounting backup for what you do, what you have. If you're a raw startup, it's not so hard because you don't have any information. But you can raise between 100,000 and a few $1,000,000 in equity crowdfunding. You have to have a compelling story. You have to have a good first backer, and you need to be able to really pitch your deal and have something that makes a lot of sense and people will jump on. One more thing you can do on there is if you give a perk, then it's almost like they're getting it for free. So let's suppose somebody has $100. Let's suppose IdeaPros is doing a crowdfunding event. Somebody wants to do $100, and if they put in $100, I'm going to give them a 10-minute session with me, for example, for free, with Ira or one of the other people in the firm. They're getting something, so they're already happy, and now they get a little piece of the company too. So that's really cool. But it's an interesting beast because you're, in a sense, a public company, but you're not really a public company. They can't trade your shares. You only have to report to your shareholders once a year, and they really have no exit plan unless you go to another level and become a real public company. So it's an interesting animal, but we have a good relationship with them. If you're one of our partners and you're interested in that, go talk to someone and get you hooked up.
Excellent. Well, on that same string of talking about money, we have Sandy who's looking to share her business with family and friends to find investors, and she wants to learn how to do it. Do you give them a share, or how does it exactly work with friends and family?
Well, do you have friends and family that are willing to give you money?
That's a good question. Let's see if she answers.
Well,
Let us know, Sandy. Yes, we're covering this question. And
so, look, let me go a roundabout way and then I'll kind of drill
she
into
says
it.
yes, by the way.
Okay. So 87% of money raised by entrepreneurs is raised by themselves and their friends and family. 87%. Big, huge number. And you'd be surprised how interested people are to help you, that love you, that believe in you, and have a little bit of extra cash. So never raise more than you need, and never, you have to do what I call say do. What you say you're going to do, you do. And so as far as giving them shares, giving them equity, yeah. So you would establish your company and you would give them a percent. Let's suppose you have a brand new company and you want to raise $50,000 from your friends and your family to help you launch or to help you get closer through the process or make a prototype, whatever it is that you're going to be doing. You have to give them a reasonable amount of equity for that money. And what is the reasonable amount? It depends on how bad you need the money and what they're going to settle for, right? There's no magic number there. But typically, I would say if you're a complete startup, I wouldn't value you at any more than like $500,000. So if you want to find $50,000 for 10%, then that would be a good deal to do. Here's the thing. Don't be embarrassed to ask for money if you're asking for money for something you really believe in. So when you go and you make a pitch to your family or your friends, you need to treat them professionally and ethically. Have the material, have a pitch deck, show them what you're doing, show them why it makes a difference, show them what's in it for them, and show them why you need that to get to the next step. And if you have a concise story and you can answer questions, people are going to ask you questions and you need to be able to answer them. What are you going to do with the money? I don't know. I just need $50,000. That's not good enough. What are you going to do with the money? Well, I have this marketing campaign. It's going to cost me $10,000. I want to build a prototype out. It's going to cost me $3,500. I found a supplier that can get me a limited quantity of these, so I can do some test sales, and that's going to cost me another $4,000. Have laid out what you're going to use the money for, and I want to keep $15,000 aside. It's kind of a nest egg as we build and get traction, so I can use for more advertising. Have a reason that you need that money, and then the conversation is a lot easier.
That's perfect. I love that. Absolutely. So a couple more questions that we have, and then we're gonna wrap it up for today. We have well, actually, our audience is kind of answering some of the questions too. Jennifer asked, "What is next step after branding?" And Barry told her, "Trademarking the brand." I love our audience.
We'll let them talk, and I'll have my water.
Internally, though, once you've trademarked, for IdeaPros, our next step after branding is to set up some accounts, get your domain name registered, your social media handles reserved, so you're staking your territory, and then you go into development either from the software side or from the product development side.
But let's just speak in generalities, not just this is not an idea.
Not just there.
So basically, after you're done with your branding, yeah, he's absolutely right. You got to make sure that you protect it. In fact, while you're in the middle of your branding, I'm going to try to make sure that you at least believe the name has a good chance of making it. And an attorney will do an initial search to really look and say, hey, you know what, you're going to have some problems because I found these three things and they're similar enough and they're in the same class that you're in. And that might be a problem. And so you can change the name at that point and go down a different road, unless you're really stubborn and you want to spend a lot of money with your attorney to lose. But then once you find it, you settle it, you get all your marks, then you go ahead and you would file, usually you would file what's called an intent to use, because you don't have it in the marketplace yet. And then that would be substituted once you have whatever your brand is, once you're using it in commerce. But that's, I think, $800, $1,000 what it's going to cost you to do that. But you definitely need, you can't go down the road and wait months and months because bad things can happen. Like you can lose.
Yeah, definitely don't want to do that. So this is a question from Ronnie, and he's created products that have already received serious interest, and he's presently in need of partners to help with manufacturing the product. He's asking if we'd be interested, and what I wanted to say is, Fred, maybe you can explain what we look for in partners as a result of that question.
Well, let me hear that again. He has product and people want it?
He has product and he has interest from Guitar Center. He's in need of partners to help with manufacturing the product, and he's wondering if we would be interested.
Yeah, so I'm gonna let you skip the line, and I'll send you to Danny, who's the head of our business development. So if you just write to Danny at IdeaPros and tell him Fred said to listen to you, we'll see what happens. Okay, and if not, we'll steer you down the right direction.
Perfect. But we are looking for specific things in a partner. So Fred, do you want to go through those?
I don't want to give away any secrets.
Oh, he's like, nope.
No, you
have to be a good person that's willing to work hard. I know that.
Yeah, be very entrepreneurial and really want to be your own CEO and take charge. We have most partners get it. There's a small percentage that don't. Like I can't make anybody famous. I can't make anybody rich. I can't make anybody's product succeed. All I can do is make sure that we're building out together the best product, positioned the best, named the best, with a really unfair advantage of being able to have 30, 40, 50 years worth of experience developing something for a first time entrepreneur. So your chance of success is much higher. But to be successful, it depends only on you. And so we really want to see people who are very entrepreneurial, who roll up their sleeves, who are constantly talking to us and, hey, I found this, I found that. What about if we add this? I just found out that there's this convention going on in 3 months. I think I should go there. What do you guys think? You know, be in charge of what you do, no matter whether you get one partner or 100 partners. You're the CEO of your brand. So learn, surround yourself with smarter people like I do, but take charge and run with the ball. And don't be a bully, be an enabler. You need to encourage the people on your team, whether they're partners, whether they're contractors, whether they're suppliers. When things don't go right as an entrepreneur, and that will happen, be above it all and work with your team to figure out, how do we fix this? How do we, I wasn't expecting this. What do we do about it? You guys have any ideas? Right? Never lose your team. When you lose your
Yeah.
team, you lose your game. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Fred, so much. I know we're heading into lots of time off and holidays, so I think we'll see you after the new year. And I'm going to take it from here.
you're not seeing any time off and holiday for me, ladies and gentlemen. If she's trying to allude to that,
He's got to get stuff done. I'm going to make sure that we have shows for you during the holiday, everyone.
yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Fred.
Take care. Good
All
seeing
right.
everybody. Bye bye.
Bye. All right, guys. Now I'm just going to take a couple seconds. If we didn't get to your call or to your question, if we didn't get to your question, we are putting it on the list for our next one. I just have to wrap this one up for you guys. I'm so glad you all were here. I saw a lot of new names out here too, but Digitex, Bongo, Patrick, great to see you. Kyle, Sandy, Donna, oh my goodness, Jason, Jay Benoit, Vanessa, Odin. I know I saw your comments. I know you had to take off. It's great to have you here. Mark Arnaldo, nice to have you from San Diego. Stephanie, Jacob, Barry, Jennifer, I know you are. I saw that you were working on your LLC, and that's awesome. Very perfect place to be. And Ronnie, we're glad to have you here again. Get in touch with Danny at IdeaPros.com and let him know that Fred sent you, and we'll chat with you. Stephen, great to have you. I know we featured you as one of our excellent partners. Great to see you. Ken with crashpadproducts.com. Guys, go check it out. It's an amazing hitch that we're finishing up some videos for. Vance and Sean with Sage Scheduler. Again, some of these things I'm pointing out, these are apps and products that what IdeaPros has launched. So Sage Scheduler is an app that's coming out. You can get on the early list to find out as soon as it launches. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be pretty much everything that I am going to work from, because I love the concept of this. So Leticia, love having you here. Leticia is our back end. She's always making sure that everything's going smoothly on these lives. We really appreciate you. Steve, great to have you. Best of the season, everyone. He says cheers. Yes. And then Aziza, of course, happy Friday. Thank you guys all so much for being here every single week at noon Pacific time on Friday. Next week, we're going to have a unique show. So I'm actually going to ask you guys, I'm going to challenge you for the people who are on right now. If you create a video that's your best entrepreneurial advice for everyone, any entrepreneur, and you submit it to me, you can email it to me at Tessa at IdeaPros.com, or you can submit it on Facebook. So share the Facebook video with me. You might be getting into our year-end recap, which is a great video that we produce from all of you. And you don't have to be an IdeaPros partner. You can just submit your information. Let us know your name, what company you're with. If you're comfortable doing it, you're more than welcome to do that. And we'll try to get you mixed into our special year-end video. that does have a deadline of 1 week. So if you can submit it before Friday of next week, I'll do one last reminder next Friday, but we'd love to get that video compiled with the very best advice from you and that give you a little bit of feature on video. So you don't have to be live. You can just submit the video to us with your advice. Again, you can email me or you can submit it to us on Facebook, and we will compile all of it. So thank you guys. I hope you have an amazing holiday. We'll see you. Merry Christmas. Whatever your season is that you're celebrating, I just want to say I hope you are enjoying it and having fun with your families, friends, and really get some recovery time, because next year is going to be awesome, guys. So I just know that we're all going to have, it's been a tough couple years here. We're going to totally turn a new corner, I believe. So let me know if you guys have any questions in the comment area. If you ever do want to submit a question, no matter what time of the week it is or year, you can submit questions in our post. There is a form that you can submit, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks, everyone. Have a blessed week. Bye.